We believe that Christians that believe the actual message and Jews that believe the actual message of the time.
Similar to the Catholic.
Right, but the
Prior
actual
to
message,
the-
in your opinion, derives from Islam.
Prior to the last prophet, they will enter heaven.
Right.
Well, your Hadith tradition says something different, actually. It says that.
You walked into David's trap card.
Well,
You're saying
we have
up
an
until
explicit
whatever
verse.
600
So-
years. So anyone before that is saved. Anyone after that rejects Muhammad.
So-
No, not necessarily anyone before that is saved. If they're on the actual belief that Christ was on, if they're on the actual belief that Moses was on, then
So you can't make the claim as a Muslim to know what the actual belief of either Moses or Jesus was, because the Quran doesn't tell you. So, for example, show me in the Quran where we can understand the belief of Jesus beyond him saying from the cradle that he's a messenger of Allah. Is that all? He taught. We say he taught way more than that. He had a 3-year ministry. Did he just go around saying, "I'm Allah's messenger" over and over again, or did he teach more?
of course he's taught the Injil, which we believe was.
Okay, then you need to tell me what
he
that
taught
is and what that
he taught
contains.
book, but obviously we don't have that book today.
Yeah, but then
So if we had the book, we would know what he was teaching.
how would it be possible for that book to vanish from history when he had Huwairun? So, we should be able to track the Huwairun, find out who they are, and then see what they taught.
So Allah didn't need to preserve the Injil. He didn't need to preserve.
That isn't said in the Quran.
No, really quick. He didn't need to preserve the Psalms. He didn't need to preserve these because he obviously had a later plan, which was going to be general for everyone. And those prior messages were only to those select groups.
That's not what the Quran says. So, for example, the Quran doesn't mention any kind of exclusivity of this dispensations to different groups. I mean, if you want to go that way, the Quran says that it was revealed in Arabic so that you would understand. I'm not Arabic, so if I wanted to, I could claim that verse means that the Quran's only for Arabs. But the Quran doesn't make any such instance or any kind of like exclusivist claim for the Torah or the Injil.
He says the revelation would have been in their language.
Huh?
The revelation that they have received.
You send it to the people. That
Well,
verse, I'm
then
not sure.
that would also.
I don't.
I'm good, thank you.
Don't. I need to look into this.
Yep.
But that verse specifically could be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking to the Prophet. That verse where you said we revealed the Quran to you in Arabic.
So, am I meant to understand the Quran? I'm not Arabic.
No, you're not understanding.
Yeah?
That verse is specified for a specified person. That verse you've mentioned. And again, I need to look into it. I don't know off the top of my head.
In other verses.
If it's a general or if it's not. Because in the Quran you have verses, just like the Bible, I'm sure you do, where Allah speaks to a certain individual. For example, he might say something to Jacob. He's not speaking to every Jew, he's speaking to Jacob.
Okay, there's another instance. It's actually very, very interesting. Are you familiar with Salman the Persian?
Yeah.
There's a verse in the Quran that addresses a criticism that was being levied by some unbelievers regarding Muhammad and Salman. It talks about this Quran being an Arabic Quran and not the work of a Persian. Are you familiar with that verse? Can I bring it up for you? It's very interesting, but it sounds like it's addressing a wide group of people and reaffirming that the Quran's Arabic.
What's the point?
Huh? Well, so the point is, I don't agree with your earlier assertion that the Torah and the Injil are only for select groups of people. Because think about it, every holy book.
The Jews today say that. The Jews, even till this day, the Jews say the Torah is for us only.
So the Jews don't say that necessarily.
The Jews that come here,
They say that when they refer to Torah in that instance, they're referring to the laws and regulations that are given to them to follow. So those are for them, sure. However, they wouldn't deny that the story of creation, the story of the Exodus, can't be taught and shared with other people. And
but what I'm trying to say is, you don't. From their understanding is, first of all, you can't join them because it's a birth system.
you can. You can convert. They just dissuade.
It's contrary to what Jews have told me.
Well, even in the Bible, the Jews are a very interesting group. Even in the Bible, they at times take in other people. For example, when they leave.
I'm sure they do. I've seen a black Jew. I'm sure they do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
As in not an Ethiopian, as in someone
Yeah,
that looked like he was Afro-American.
they take in converts, absolutely. Even when they in the Bible, when they describe them leaving Egypt, they're described as a mixed multitude of people.
Yeah.
So obviously, yes, there were other slaves in Egypt at the time who weren't Jewish, but they left with them and then got integrated into the community. Yeah. So even today, if you wanted to, you can become Jewish. However, they dissuade you. Because the idea is that you have less laws to follow as a Noahide or whatever.
Would someone that converts into Judaism, would they have the full rights as per your understanding of a Jew?
Sure.
So they would be able to go to Israel and be given land?
Sure.
I don't think they'd do that.
What are you guys talking about?
I think the condition is you have to be a born Jew for that.
Well, if it's
They need to trace you, I think, 4 generations via your mother.
if that's a stipulation, then I guess not. However, if not, then sure. He's asking if you convert to Judaism, can you go to Israel and buy land? I guess.
I don't know.
I guess. I don't see why.
You know about this, that Jews trace their ancestry through their father.
Yeah,
mother,
my mother is Jewish.
Yeah.
We trace it through the maternal line, not the paternal line. But
So you have to be, my understanding, and I've heard this from Jews, Orthodox Jews, is you have to be born a Jew. Your mother has to.
no, you can convert, but it's a much longer and tedious process. They're called Noahide Jews.
Are you given? Are you a Jew, or are you seen slightly different?
Are you a Jew or a
if you
Jew?
go by if you go by the ruling of what they say, technically I would be like an ethnic Jew according to them. But I obviously consider myself religiously Christian, and I wasn't raised with the Jewish religion or anything. I was raised as an
in
atheist.
Israel now, they're saying you could be, if you could prove, I believe it is 4 generations. If you can prove you're a Jew via your mother for 4 generations, wherever you are, you come back to Israel, they will give you land.
I guess that's what the government say in Israel. I'm not saying that's like. Yeah,
What's the difference between a Christian with a Jewish background and a Messianic Jew?
Messianic Jews are just weird, man. I wouldn't call myself a mess. I think Messianic Jews are just people that like.
Messianic Jews.
Yeah, they just I don't think anyone should claim to be a Messianic Jew, because you're basically saying I'm still Jewish. It's just like I found the Messiah. You can still ethnically be Jewish, but you no longer belong to the religion of Judaism, really.
Would be Christians from a Jewish background.
My mother's family is Jewish, yeah. So we would trace it.
Does she believe her God and your God are the same?
My mother isn't a religious Jew. She's like an ethnic.
Christians believe
But you can be
right?
ethnically Jewish.
So, if you're a Catholic, okay, so here's what a Christian would say. A Christian would say, per natural theology, it's the same God in the sense that we're referring to the same God, right? So even this is the case even with Muslims as well, right? So take, for example, if like a father has 2 children, right? And one child describes the father accurately and the other slanders him. We're both referring to the same father, right? Although we describe him differently. And in that same sense, we would say like Jews, Muslims, Christians, we're referring to the same God, but we're describing him differently.
The reason why I asked about your mother is because Jews don't believe in the same God as Christians.
For me,
So,
I've heard many of them say,
from the Christian perspective, we would say that we do, it's just we describe God differently, right? But I honestly, the Jewish side of my family isn't very theologically inclined. Like when I try and have conversations with them on this, they're not.
You know, one thing I don't understand is there seems to be it's bizarre to me that we see this, and we see it now politically as well, without saying names. There seems to be this brotherhood of Jews and Christians in the world stage.
It's what the Quran says, right? The Quran says not to take the Christians and Jews as allies because they're allies of each other. So
we're gonna,
if the Quran's true, then it is what it is, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely, there's no doubt. But I'm saying from your side, it's from your point of view. I want to understand it. We have no doubt. We believe that. If
I think
whatever is in the Quran, we believe that. We don't even doubt 1% of it.
Well, I think you should.
I think
you should.
To do with a certain view of Christian theology, right? You have two schools. You have dispensationalism and covenant
Bring
theology.
logic into religion. Okay?
Yes, you can. It has to be logical.
Okay, logically.
That's what we're talking about
hold
for the
on.
whole of this conversation.
How are you going to prove logically Christ died and came back to life?
That's a historical point, not a philosophical point.
No. He's saying logically you can explain religion. You can't explain that point.
You can.
So there goes your logic.
There's a difference between. Wait. There's a difference between
point.
explaining something logically
He said
and
you can explain,
proving something
He said
logically.
you can explain religion logically.
Yes.
You
can.
cannot logically explain a person dying on a Thursday and then coming back on a
Yes.
Sunday.
Okay. All right.
How can- logically.
Wait. Okay. I'll answer you. Right. I'll answer you. Okay. So there is
Can you explain someone dying and coming back to life logically?
wait.
Maybe let him do his thing.
Can I answer you?
There's no logic.
Wait, can I answer you?
Can we go back to the
Well,
point?
you
just
made a
asked
claim.
question about miracles.
Because you hijacked our convo.
Okay, right. So when we're talking about miracles, right?
Yeah.
The objections to a miracle will be it's illogical because it violates the laws of science
No, I
and
believe
that
in
it's
miracles.
improbable.
I believe in miracles.
And
But
illogical.
I'm saying it's
He is
still
saying-
logical.
No.
Because wait, just let me speak and maybe you'll understand.
You know what?
He didn't say someone-
Let him speak,
If you let me
and then you can join in.
No, because you're gonna.
Let him
you're gonna
speak,
go
and then you can join in.
He didn't say someone, a religious person using logic. He said you can just use logic to prove.
No, he didn't say you can
That's
use it
not
to
what he
prove
said.
it, you
Well,
can
I was only
explain
quoting a
it.
fellow Muslim who mentioned that he put, if in any situation, he'd put the Quran over logic.
Which you shouldn't do.
I do the same.
Okay.
You shouldn't do that.
Okay. So
Yeah, so that's what I was saying.
let's break this down, right?
Yep.
When we say God does miracles, they do not violate the laws of logic.
I'm with
Yes.
you on that.
Okay, good. So when we're talking about if something is logical or illogical,
Yeah.
we're talking about law of non-contradiction, law of identity, law of excluded middle.
Yeah.
Take, for example, Moses splits the Red Sea. I don't know if you guys believe that miracle
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
You believe
me
it as
too.
well. Okay, Moses splits the Red Sea. Is there a contradiction? Not logically. There's not. The sea is split and not split, right? You don't have that. Moses splits the Red Sea. There's no identity statements that
No,
contradict.
hold on.
And there's
Logically,
no-
there is a contradiction
Where's
because
the
your average
clause?
man can't do that. But religiously,
That's
we
That's
believe
not
that's
a
not what a
contradiction,
contradiction
though.
means.
religiously we believe in it.
But that's
Define
not what a
contradiction, please.
is. A contradiction is
No,
when
he's saying logically.
Yes.
Logically.
Okay.
No, hold on.
You didn't hear what he said. There
Okay,
are 3 rules of logic.
Can you say it again?
Okay.
Sorry.
There are 3 rules of logic.
Or main rules,
law
sorry.
of non-contradiction, law of identity, and law of excluded middle.
Stop for 1 second. If something is illogical, it breaks one of these.
That's fine. Continue.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, so any miracle that we point out in our religious traditions, unless it's like a ridiculous one that is actually impossible, right? Is going to be logical because it conforms to these standards. Now, you're using logic in the sense of maybe we can't fathom it, or maybe it's not according to our proper nature.
Or it doesn't happen every day.
Or it doesn't happen every day. That's not something that constitutes what it means to be illogical.
Yes.
That just constitutes what it means for a divine act to be acting in creation. Because these miracles are
Sure, we're
from
together.
God.
I
Okay.
misunderstood you earlier. That's fine.
Cool.
That's fine.
No worries.
Sorry, just really coming back to the point that I was saying.
So just
we see it
that's what I'll make.
Yeah.
The resurrection
Yeah.
as well
Yeah.
does not fall into any error or contradiction with the law of identity, non-contradiction, or excluding the middle.
Yeah.
So therefore, it cannot be ruled out as being illogical.
But the premise would be that the individual you're speaking to would need to believe in miracles, no?
Well, that's why we prove God exists before we
Before he
talk
goes
about
miracles.
Yeah,
Judge
okay,
Jesus
fine,
rise from the
okay,
dead, right?
fine, mate, good point. No, so I was saying, so we see this, we are currently seeing this alliance. Now, I appreciate that you have the same book.
Yes.
You believe in the same book. But although you have the same book, there's still major differences between these two groups, the Jews and Christians.
Yes.
Because, first of all, these are people that, to be fair, they don't hold Christ in any regard, let alone a high regard. Huh?
So,
Yeah, I mean, they got him killed,
It'd be very.
according to them.
this is going to be like covenant theology and
Let me-
dispensation.
They got him.
Yeah.
They got him killed. They said the thief was better.
I don't want to
than-
just
let
like
the
go
thief
ham on
kill
the
him.
dispensationalists in front of the camera.
No, we don't want to be in the camera. Who's changed the angle? Okay, really quickly coming back to this. So there seems to be a non-acceptance of Christ, al-Islam, and also a belief that the Jews don't believe it's the same God.
Yeah.
that the Jews and Christians are followers.
Want to hear something hyper controversial?
We condemn them.
So.
Corner of controversy.
So, whether it be the rabbinical Jewish view or the Islamic view of Jesus, We don't really play who's closer, who's further away. Both groups ultimately just reject Jesus. Yeah, so you're basically both in the same boat when it comes to like not having the correct Jesus in your belief systems, right? However, whatever alliance you're speaking about, I mean, alliances can take place across all kinds of walks of life, right? The Khaliji Arabs are aligning themselves with like democratic Americans. Why? Maybe there's money and power involved. So
that's what I think it is.
yeah.
No, I think it's down to.
So just because two groups that appear to have something in common align, that doesn't really mean anything. Money?
I think the Jew and Christian alliance is down to money. But the reason I ask that is because there's a lot of Christians that put that relationship down to cemented in Scripture.
I wouldn't say a lot. I actually say it's a definitely a minority view. It's most something you will find in like a few American churches, and then maybe if they have satellite communities in like Africa and Asia, they might hold the same view. Well, it's definitely a minority view. It's not a majority view whatsoever. If it was a majority view, then like you would see a lot more financial and public support for the Jewish state from Christians
I
than you
think
do.
where this is coming from mainly is you have one camp that wants to interpret the promises for Israel as
in a
being
certain
the
way.
same as the promises for the Jewish people today. And then you have one side of Christians that are interpreting it as the Christians are now the new Israelites. The church is Israel now. And the promise which was promised to Israel is inherited by the church. So you have these two interpretations of the text.
Listen, guys. I think you've thank you for the answer. It does make sense. I think you've done well in your responses. And then my last question is to, I don't know your name, chap.
David. How you doing?
Why there seems to be, I don't know what that guy's name is with the dreads, but I saw a video where he was in your face. And what I don't understand, you're both Christians as far as I understand, but he seems to, I've seen him abuse quite a few Christians here. I don't know what his name is. He's
a new guy. Well, not you guys. Actually, he's been here for quite a while.
He's got a dreads or
I saw him
what is that
tumbling
all
down
about?
over there today.
Is he not the same type of Christian?
Ultimately,
Well,
you basically
Judge
you
a religion
can.
by its founder, not by the individual.
Not by
No,
the
I know,
individual.
I'm not doing that. But because
So-
you know the reason I asked
Several
you.
people would have been with that.
The reason why I asked you because I was really surprised to see him in your face like that.
Yeah, no,
It didn't make
it's okay.
sense.
Effectively, the faults are with him as an individual and not necessarily with anything that he believes in. He's
But
just
it's not doctrinal then.
it's the reasons he's behaving that way
Listen,
are
we
not
have this in
doctrinal.
Islam, just to let you know.
I'm fully aware.
Every ideology has crazy people.
Yeah, so
Every ideology.
ultimately, you can find somebody yelling at you in the same capacity within the Islamic faith. Same thing within Christianity. Effectively, he just needs to have better people skills. That's all. Yeah. And obviously, he has his own very distinct approach to approaching the Bible and the Christian faith, and I have my own, and then I'm willing to discuss them in a more civil manner, but he wasn't, so that's all. But pray for the guy. That's what I'll do.
Bringing like a chair. To
A chair?
Corner, man.
You can actually. I actually ordered
Sorry
some.
guys,
Just
I
very
know
light
I
ones.
hijacked your combo.
Oh, that's all good, man. It's been a good conversation. It was
All
nice
right.
speaking
Well,
to you.
what was your name?
Likewise, Uthman.
Usman.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you, man.
Anything else? Or we done out here, man.
I think you're ready to go. So
Oh no, I can be all night. That's what I do.
All night long.
All right. Well, one more thing. Repeat after me. Oh, fuck. I'm kidding. Okay. Cool, man. Dawood, lovely to meet you.
Nice
See you
meeting
again.
you. God bless
Hey, man.
you.
Lovely to meet you, man.
It's nice to meet you.
Cool. All right. Next time. Well, good convos. Although Siraj couldn't answer the questions though, which is the problem. But whatever. Maybe next time, Siraj. Siraj made a new Quran, by the way. Apparently, in Siraj's Quran. Oh yeah. In his Quran, apparently at the burning bush there were angels there, despite that not being mentioned whatsoever in the Quran. But whatever. Let's just ignore that.
Siraj translation.
The Siraj Quran is the 44th Quran.
That's got a ring to it.
Yeah,
Siraj Quran.
it does. The Siraj translation. It came into being 2024. What's today's date? October the what? 10th? The 10th. Yeah, exactly. The
Wait, did you
Siraj.
say October?
Yeah.
November.
November the 10th. My bad. Okay, I'm tired. Cool. Well, good conversations. we were just having some general talks with some Muslim dudes, but they were very open-minded. It's the first time ever that we've shown a Muslim Mark 13:32 in the Greek interlinear, and just without even giving them an explanation, they understood.
He got it straight. I was so surprised,
Yo,
man.
pray for Dawood, man.
Most people were like,
Yeah.
he was like, oh, so if the father doesn't know, then the son wouldn't know, but because they have the same knowledge, then that statement works with Trinitarians.
Every now and then
Wow.
you can find someone with common sense. Can you believe
Wow,
it?
that's crazy. Fair play to him, man.
So
Fair play.
subhanallah, man. And then we had an individual come and try to talk to us about, I don't know, this like weird
Like geopolitics
yeah,
and
geopolitical movement
Israel
between
and
the Israelis
Judaism.
and the American Christians, and yeah, we don't care about that stuff.
As soon as I walked back into the conversation, I just saw you talking about Noahides and stuff. I was like, what's going on here?
Well, he was talking about how that Jews don't want people to join. I'm like, yeah, but apparently the reason is for apparently like noble reasons regarding the large number of stipulations you have to follow when you join. So maybe just be a Noahide and just follow your.
I'm not a Jewish apologist, so if you want to say Judaism is false, be my guest. I'm not going to defend
Hey,
it.
listen, man. If you ain't got Christ, you ain't quite right.
Exactly.
So we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Alrighty, cool. Well, we'll see if we can have any more interesting conversations today. But other than that, then we'll probably just go out.
Right. God bless you guys.
All right.
Follow
God bless.
Speaker's Corner Revival. Is that Revelation?
I have no idea. Maybe.
Revelation 22:13.
Follow the
Thomas
gang.
Apologia, and hopefully one day you're gonna get a channel.
Oh Lord.
You need to get a channel. We're gonna press David to get one.
Lord.
And also pray for the Muslims that we just spoke to.
Yeah. Pray for the woods, man, and pray for Usman as well.
God bless.
Damn, if David gets a channel. Oh Lord.